You are watching Shalom World News. I'm David Kerr from Lansing in Michigan, and these are your latest news headlines from around the world. A police force in Britain has apologised to a Catholic woman who was twice arrested for silently praying outside abortion clinics. The force in question is West Midlands Police in England. They've also confirmed that the pro-life campaigner Isabel von Spruce won't be charged for violating a local buffer zone order in place around the abortion facility in Birmingham. The closure of the case against Ms von Spruce comes shortly after the UK Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, clarified that silent prayer is not unlawful in a letter to police leadership. Ms von Spruce is the director of the campaign group March for Life UK. In a statement, she welcomed the decision by the police, stating that silent prayer is never criminal. Pope Francis has denounced euthanasia and abortion as practices that, quote, play with life. The Holy Father made his comments during an in-flight news conference while returning from a 2-day apostolic visit to Marseille in southern France. A controversial bill seeking to legalise assisted suicide and euthanasia in France is now being debated in the French Parliament. The vote, which was delayed due to the Pope's visit, will take place on September the 26th to the 28th. Meanwhile, more than 3,000 young people from 40 different nations are expected to attend a prayer vigil on Saturday to pray for the Synod on Synodality that will take place next month at the Vatican in Rome. The ecumenical prayer vigil is entitled Together. It will include 12 representatives from various Christian churches and ecclesial communities. That includes Bartholomew I, the Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople, and the senior Anglican cleric from England, Justin Welby. The Vatican will host the Synod on Synodality General Assembly from October the 4th to the 29th. Republican senators are urging President Joe Biden to recognise Respect Life Month in October with a public display of support at the White House. The letter from Senators Pete Ricketts, Cindy Hyde-Smith and Kevin Cramer urges President Biden to demonstrate inclusivity to pro-life Americans by prominently displaying the pro-life flag at the White House and federal agency buildings throughout October. The senators said this would make a strong statement about how much the nation values all Americans. Two civil society organisations have launched a mobile unit travelling the main streets of Mexico City with the message "Classrooms are for learning, not for indoctrination." The campaign has been led by the National Union of Parents and the Citizen Go platform. They are demanding that educational institutions in Mexico stop using the controversial school textbooks developed for the 2023-24 school year by the Mexican government under President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. The organisations maintain that distributing the textbooks is illegal because they were changed without either the parents or the educational community having been consulted about the content of the books as stipulated by Article 48 of Mexico's General Law on Education. The Indian government's Minorities Committee has asked a Christian organisation to present a thorough report on the issue of violence against Christians in India. The National Commission for Minorities has requested that the Ecumenical United Christian Forum produce the report within a month. The Commission's chairman, Sardar Iqbal Singh Larpura, says that the panel wants to undertake its own investigation based on those findings from the Christian group. They then hope to present their report to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi with a detailed report. According to the United Christian Forum, 525 incidents of violence against Christians have been reported from 23 Indian states till August of this year. That's 20 more incidents than the whole of last year. A long-awaited law on the personal legal status of Christians in Egypt is set to be approved soon by the Egyptian Parliament. Egyptian Justice Minister Omar Marwan said that the draft personal status bill for Christians had been completed and confirmed that it will soon be sent to the House of Representatives in the next session. The drafting of the new legislation, which includes provisions on sensitive issues relating to family law, has been a long process that started in 2014 and in which all Egyptian churches have been involved. The prefect of the Vatican's dicastery for the service of charity, Cardinal Konrad Krajewski, has visited Ukraine for the 7th time in order to open a Mercy house of shelter for women and children in the war-torn western city of Lviv. The house was already under construction when the Russia-Ukraine war broke out in February of 2022. Various donors, including Pope Francis, have helped to build the Mercy house of shelter, which is run by the Albertine sisters. Single mothers and widows whose husbands died in the present conflict can live in the house with their children. The shelter will also provide space for the homeless. Representatives of Catholic Indigenous peoples from around the globe have been gathering in Washington, D.C. The International Conference on Catholic Indigenous Ministry brought together representatives from Catholic Indigenous organisations with Catholic bishops and staff from the Episcopal Conferences of Canada, Australia, New Zealand and the United States. Hosted by the US Conference of Catholic Bishops Subcommittee on Native American Affairs, the goal of the week-long conference was to exchange ideas, resources and best practices on the relationship between the Catholic Church and Indigenous communities. Countries from the Horn of Africa are urgent action on the issue of climate change and reform to the global financial system. Addressing the United Nations General Assembly, leaders from Somalia, Ethiopia, Djibouti and Eritrea portrayed a bleak future for the planet, which they say is plagued by the effects of climate change. They said this is an existential crisis that demands immediate collective action. They highlighted the upcoming COP28 climate conference in the United Arab Emirates as an opportunity for the world to fulfill its obligations to the planet's most vulnerable nations. Finally, a photographic exhibition documenting the lives of Catholics in rural China is being held at Boston College in Massachusetts. The exhibition, entitled On the Road, The Catholic Faith in China, is presented by the college's Ricci Institute for Chinese Western Cultural History. It showcases 60 images taken between 1992 and 1996, when world-renowned photographer Lu Nan travelled on the road through 10 Chinese provinces to document the lives of Catholic villagers. The exhibition will run until December the 22nd. That's all of your latest headlines for now. Do join us for more tomorrow. You can also join us at swnews.org for more news updates. Shalom.